When we opened our pop-up in LA, I invited my parents to eat the food before I opened. My mom gave me one of these, and my dad was like, let me help you with the restaurant. This is perfect. My parents are like pretty big haters, so the fact that they liked it means that like the haters are gonna like it. Hello everybody, I am Alvin Cailan of The Usual here in New York City. I'm also the host of The Burger Show, and I'm also making a Filipino restaurant and cookbook called Amboy. And a lot of people probably know me because I'm the egg slit dude. And today, I'm making a Filipino dish that has eggs. It's called tortang talong, which means eggplant omelet. Let's get started. So, we have Japanese eggplants. This is what I used growing up, and you simply just burn them on the stove. So what you want to do is just blister the skin and then cook the inside. So there's so much moisture inside these eggplants that it starts to cook the inside flesh of the eggplant. And also, it's easier to peel this way. So if you don't have a gas range, turn your broiler setting on in your oven. And you could go old school as well and use a pot of boiling water and just shock the skin and peel it that way. I just like the flavor of the char. So you see that? Like, that's pretty nice right there. This is like a typical Saturday dish. My dad would throw this onto the stove. I don't know if he was just trying to be a dick and try to wake us up because of the smell, but it's something that when I eat, it brings me back to my childhood, and it's so comforting. And as I get older, I tend to like love the, classic foods of my past. And it's starting to become like what I've been cooking a lot of lately. And in my new restaurant at Amboy, that's what we're gonna do. So like this is pretty good for the tips. So let's get the stem parts. All right, I think we're done. We'll chop up just some like aroma ingredients for the eggplant. Throw some oil on this guy. So we're cooking these about 5 minutes. You just want to get them like nice and loose and translucent. This is done. That's our aromatics for our dish. Next, we will peel these guys. So you want to start from the top, work your way to the bottom. Super easy. You can see they caramelize pretty well. There's lots of sugar in eggplant. I remember when I was a prep cook, and I used to have to do this at a restaurant in Oregon. I had to do a case a day, and my fingers would get so like calloused and gross. We did the eggplant part, time to do the omelet part. Maybe 3 eggs per omelet. Let's do 4. Perfect. 12 eggs, 3 eggplants, about, I'd say 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. Fish sauce really, it's like a magnifying glass. It really just like amplifies all the flavors of pretty much everything. It's that one ingredient that when you eat, you're like, there's something different about that, and I like it. It's usually fish sauce. Eggs are ready. Let's get this pan a little warm. You can just dunk this whole thing into there. I like to flatten it out with a fork just like this. Just the back of the fork, just so that it cooks evenly, and it also sops up the egg really well. Just dunk it into there. And we're throwing this guy in there. I like to just add a little bit more. And then I'll add some of these guys. I'm gonna throw a little bit of salt just to make sure everything is seasoned all the way through. So right here, you can see it's starting to set. Then I'm gonna blast this a little bit to medium high again. And what this is gonna do is this heat is gonna force its way up into the pan and release the egg from the pan. See, you can hear it. And then I'm gonna grab the handle, AKA the stem, put it onto my spat and just, boop. You wanna cook it for about a minute on that side. And that's that. So that's one. Let's do a couple more. This is my favorite style of vegetarian dish. I'm kind of doing something similar for the usuals menu, but I'm gonna go more on like the traditional historic route and do it like a Spanish tortilla. We're gonna layer it like a lasagna, and then I'm gonna slice it like a lasagna and serve it with romesco sauce and papas bravas. All right, last one. I think this guy's ready to flip. Let's turn it up a little, and you can hear it. Like ASMR. All right, it's ready to go. Boom. Perfect. All right. Boom, layered up. Then I'm gonna start prepping out a salsa. 1 tomato. Dice these guys up really quickly. This is a classic salsa in the Philippines. Throw this guy in here. Cukes. Probably just use half of this guy. We'll do the stripes. A little bit of lemon juice. A little bit fish sauce. So you're mixing this, and then we'll just throw this on top. We'll slice up some scallions. That's it. That is the dish. The first time I ever had this dish, I was maybe 5 years old. That was like when the era of loving eggs began for me. This is just one of the dishes that we would have. Saturday morning, Spam, Vienna sausage, overcooked fried eggs, and this. Let's give it a try. The umami is there, the nice char flavor. The eggs are done perfectly, they're fluffy. The fish sauce provides a really good umami note to it. But the freshness of this salad on top, or the salsa on top, really rounds out the entire dish. Perfect summer vegetable dish. Try it at home. Click the link on the bottom. Rush, do it now. I promise you, you won't regret it.